All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here, another edition from Drew's house. This is my wife, Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
And we have our guest in the house, the legendary, the great Carl Stevens from WBZ News Radio. How are you, Carl?
Well, I'm neither legendary or great, but I'm pretty darn good. How are you?
Doing good, man. You know what we're drinking out of right here? We just noticed the old, remember these? The old Migas Lodge coffee mugs up in Maine there?
Oh, how romantic.
Were you one of the ones that made off with one of these things?
If I did, I forgot. I don't know.
Handmade, Sarah tells me. Handmade.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Made by someone's hands.
Yes, made by hand.
That's fantastic, yes.
I love your hat. How you doing with the passing of the time?
Well, time doesn't so much pass me as I pass time fairly effectively, and I can show you how.
Okay.
So for one thing,
Where are we?
This is my house. We're inside my house. And this is my good friend who I spent a lot of time with right here.
Ah.
A guitar. In fact, why don't I play you an uplifting song? Because it's all about, trying to keep your spirits up in these times of confinement, right?
Sure.
So I can play should I play a little song?
Sounds great. Take it away.
Little uplifting song from that uplifting master, Merle Haggard. The bottle let me down.
There you go.
Each night I leave the bar room when it's over, not feeling any pain at closing time. But tonight your memory found me much too sober. Can't seem to drink enough to get you off my mind. Tonight, the bottle let me down. It let your memory come around. The one true friend I thought I'd found. Tonight, the bottle let me down. Nobody can lift your spirits like Merle Haggard. You know who enjoys that? It's the four-legged member of our household, the little man right here. Can you see him?
I got him.
See Brady?
There's Brady.
He's named after one of the best quarterbacks in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history.
Yeah, what made you name him after a Buccaneer?
Can you see him? Well, he's got a lot of pirate spirit in him.
Yeah, you guys don't have to move to Tampa, do you?
In a word, no. Now, let me show you what else. You asked what we do to pass the time. Me and my partner, Karima, who's a former fitness trainer, she made some investments, realizing we might be in lockdown. So she bought us a treadmill.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do this with the iPad. You see the treadmill okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is a painting of mine. This is something else I do to pass the time. Is I impersonate Jackson Pollock, and I do these big paintings.
Wow.
And then I practice putting. Can you see the putting green there that Brady's on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is something else that Karima bought. That's a bench and some weights. I think you can see that all right, right?
You got a lot to do here.
And it's the problem is I don't have enough hours in the day. And then, of course, you have all the bobbleheads who are here to keep me company as well. And to continue to answer your question, what do I do during this time of quote-unquote lockdown is I come outside in the privacy of my own backyard. And, it used to be that my short game in golf was as bad as my long game. But it's gotten better because I've been chipping. See, I got these plastic balls. Can you see those? Yeah, with the iPad?
Oh, yeah, I got them.
I wonder. I'm going to put the iPad on the ground here. Is that all right?
Sure.
Like that? And then I'll show you.
This is Carl Stevens, ladies and gentlemen. Again, our guest today. We've gone to his house here.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Carl Stevens, a former full-time radio reporter. And now I'm learning how to, in this coronavirus time, I'm learning how to chip a little better. See? Like this. Like that. You do that enough, you're going to get better at it.
Right.
with the exception of picking your nose, almost anything you do the more of, you're going to get better at it. Now, here's something else that I do. I occupy myself in this shed with a speed bag and a heavy bag. So I like to come in here.
I've seen this before.
Hit stuff. Oh, did you?
Yeah, you showed me this once. Yeah, it's intense in here.
Well, it's not in a tent. It's a shed.
No, intense.
And here's a speed bag. No, it's just one. It's singular. Here, let's see. Can you see that all right?
There you go.
Yeah. Watch this.
Yep.
So this is a good way to knock out bad memories and kind of deal with the present reality. I think anybody who's going stir crazy because of the coronavirus that probably doesn't have a speed bag. It's a very good item to have therapeutically.
So you're saying the key to getting through this is a speed bag?
No, it's to be somewhat mentally defective.
Was that a Johnny Cash poster in the shed?
Oh yeah, the posters, Bud. You don't even know the posters. Let me see with the iPad. Excuse me. There we go. All right, let's see. We're going to start with Muhammad Ali and Bob Dylan. Can you see them there?
Yep, tilt it to your left a little. There you go.
How's that?
Oh, look at that.
And then Marvin Hagler and some woman on Facebook.
Okay.
And then here you got Muhammad Ali when he knocked down Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
And then we got a bunch of movie posters.
Wow.
Tobar the Great, The Mole People, Who Will Be the Bride of Frankenstein. And there's my hero Bob Dylan reading Sports Weekly in a drugstore. And there's The Mummy's Curse, Revenge of the Creature. One of my favorites, Queen of Outer Space. And then my all-time favorite movie star, Foxy Brown. So there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the whole coronavirus thing is challenging for a lot of people, but I think it's not so much challenging for me because I'm fairly old and semi-retired. So the nature of the story is most of my work is over the phone. Because I was going to do a story a week and a half ago with a CEO of some company who delivered food. And she said, I don't want to meet in person. And I realized that was going to be the prevailing dynamic. Yeah. And that I needed to figure out a way to do my job without jeopardizing anybody's health. And so that's why I've been doing interviews over the phone. And I'm getting stories, plenty of stories. I'm just pretty much staying at home with an exception. When it gets warmer, I'm walking to the front yard to show you another thing that I occupy myself with. Is this okay for a radio interview that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's working out just fine. So social distancing is not a problem for you. What do you think about all these crazy kids at Castle Island sitting around benches having lunch?
See, this is my motorcycle that I wanted to show you.
There it is.
See? That's my baby. So Karima and I were out on the motorcycle yesterday. Now, as for young people eating lunch on Castle Island, I really don't have any opinion on people eating lunch on an island. I once saw, some of your listeners are probably too old to remember Gilligan's Island, but they had lunch, but there was no coronavirus. So I just don't have a lot of expertise on that. Now, also in the backyard, in terms of how to occupy my time, you probably have one of these on your back porch. You got the French press. Okay, you got that? You see it?
Yeah.
Sorta.
There you go. All right.
I just don't understand how to use this Zoom with an iPad. So you know what? I'm just going to sit down here where sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I have a vodka tonic or 2 or 3 or 4 and a cigar. Like out here, if it's a nice day, and today's not a bad day. So I just put my feet up on the table, and I will listen to any questions you have and answer them to the best of my ability from now on.
Every time I do the show, I usually have a moment where we call it rapid fire, and I ask questions, and you have to say the first thing that comes to mind. You want to play?
Well, hold on a minute. you've known me for a long time, right?
Right.
And the sentence that you just said included the words "you have to," right?
Right. You hate instructions like that, yeah.
Well, it's like putting an orange on an apple tree, you know? I mean, if something comes to mind, I'd be happy to share it with you.
Yeah, I have no way to hold you to any of these rules either.
Well, we're a long way apart physically. I think you could hold me. You're a big guy. But anyway, go ahead. What do you got?
Kind of the whole point of social distancing, isn't it? To be far away. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're doing well, by the way. I miss you.
I do too. You look great.
You're a great wife. Well, I've lost weight since I went part-time, and since Karima moved in, she's got me working out more. I drink a lot less, and I'm drinking healthy. So
there you go.
I'm eating healthy.
All right. I think you already answered it, but who's the favorite musician of all time?
It just depends on the day. Some days it's Tom Waits, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, Woody Guthrie, Melinda. It's different every day.
Do you remember your first album?
The Monkees.
The Monkees. Very nice. Yeah. Favorite album?
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, sometimes it's Folsom Prison. Sometimes it's Blood on the Tracks. You know, I don't have a favorite album.
Favorite movie?
I'm no good at this, am I?
You're great. Fire. You're great. Favorite movie?
Sometimes it's The Wizard of Oz. Sometimes it's The Deer Hunter, The Mission. I like De Niro a lot. You know, most De Niro. Well, not most De Niro's, because he got into that stupid comic phase. So, I don't have an answer to that one either. Keep going.
Favorite actor? Is it De Niro?
Favorite actor?
Or actress? Or
yeah, probably De Niro. Yeah. You know, after the anniversary of 9/11, I was down in Lower Manhattan. They're at the site, and they were reading the names. And De Niro, I figured, you know, all the reporters were in one place just getting and I figured I'm not going to be on the air for hours because we were carrying the reading of the names, and there was nothing to be had. So I went backstage, and Robert De Niro comes walking right at me. He had two women right next to him, one on each side. And I said, "Excuse me, Mr. De Niro, I'm with the radio station in Boston." Because he was very emotional at the time. You know, he was hit hard down in Tribeca. And I said, "Is there any message that you would like me to pass on?" And I had the microphone right there. And he paused and he said, "No, I don't think so."
Right.
That's the only time I met Robert De Niro. But I think he's my favorite actor.
All right. What was that like going down there for 9/11? Is there any similar feel with this kind of hunkering down? No.
No. You know, it was weird on 9/11 because, you know, being in Boston, and everybody remembers, you know, you look up at the sky and you're not sure what's happening next. But this dynamic it's, you know, fear has its own strange momentum, and I guess that's the similarity, is the momentum of fear. But this is a whole different animal. This is very different. This is, I mean, with 9/11, you knew you were in a tunnel, but you knew you were going to get out. In this one, you just you know, you're not sure which side streets might be in this tunnel. If you know, there's a lot. Yeah, you know, there was a lot of uncertainty then. So once again, I don't really know what I'm talking about. You have what's the other question?
Do you have a question for Carl?
Oh my goodness.
Sarah sometimes has good questions too.
I'm not very good at coming up with the questions though.
No.
Any
advice for when you struggle to come up with questions, Carl?
Well, I have a question for Sarah.
There you go.
Oh gosh, okay.
Are you as lucky to be with Drew as he is to be lucky to be with you?
Of course.
Really?
Lucky to be with Drew.
Wow. That's you guys are special. You're a special couple.
We have our moment. Hey, well, here's Mookie.
You want to say hi to Mookie? Come here, buddy.
Yeah, you haven't really met Mookie yet, Carl. You know Henry, the big dog.
Hi?
Yeah, you got the two dogs. How are they getting along?
They're best buds. It's adorable. Here's Mookie right here. There he is.
So happy.
Say hi, Mookie. There's a good boy.
Now, you know what's funny about you named Mookie and I named mine Brady. And
I know.
Brady and Mookie are gone.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question. I was getting sick of people asking if I have to send Mookie to Los Angeles now.
You were getting sick of that question or tired of it?
I don't really care. You know what I'm watching right now that I find to be a very entertaining show?
What?
That I think you'd like?
What?
getting coffee in cars with comedians. Have you seen this with Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, I think I have television ADHD. What I've been
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, right. But mostly what I've been watching is like film noir and 1940s, 1950s movies out of YouTube and sci-fi movies from the early 60s. I like those, and YouTube videos on how to play guitar. I'm learning some stuff there, and also golf, of course. So should I even say this? I don't really watch television. I watch a lot of YouTube, even Netflix. Some Karima likes some stuff on Hulu that I watch with her, but mostly I'm a YouTube guy.
How about your poetry writing? Got any poems coming out of this?
But I'm writing a song every day.
Is that right?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know if you're following me. Well, I don't think hardly anybody follows me on SoundCloud because nobody knows exists. But I'm posting a song a day on SoundCloud. I write a song a day. Wait, let me get the song that I wrote today because it has to do with this back deck. You know what it's called? It's called Smoking. It's called Smoking and Drinking.
Oh, okay. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a Merle Haggard song.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Smoking and drinking. But look, I'll show you the pile of lyrics. See, this is sort of where I create. Like, I'll come down here in the morning before Karima's up, and I'll just start writing and writing and writing.
Creation.
So let's see. Let me see the song that I wrote. Where the heck is it? Here's one I wrote. Oh, this will do just as well. This was like 4 days ago. I've only written 2 drinking songs, and I wrote them both in the past 5 days. This is called Bad Time to Stop Drinking. And I'll just read you the first stanza. My dog's, what does that say? My dog's got a bad stomach and the car won't start. My teenage daughter has a broken heart. My son lost his job working at Walmart. My head is a balloon and life is throwing darts. The whole sad thing has got me thinking. I picked a real bad day to stop drinking. So it just goes on and on like this. Look at this. There's a whole bunch of songs here. And so it's not so much that I'm writing poetry as I'm writing poetry that just happens to be sung. So I guess you call those songs. How about you? You writing?
Yeah. I'm not really putting it to music or anything, but I'm always writing.
Really? You write? Send me something. I'll make a song out of it.
I used to write a lot more.
Yeah.
I try to not play too much because Sarah kind of yells from the upstairs sometimes. Keep it down.
Keep it down, you wild man.
You know that sound, do you?
No. Karina likes my stuff. She does. She doesn't mind my playing at all. She kind of likes it. So
He needs his own creative corner. Maybe the basement would be a good place for you to
She
play.
made me a man cave, which gave me the first sign that maybe.
No, that's a realization that, that you guys are together for the long haul. You need your own space. Take it from a guy who's had 2 very successful divorces. I know what I'm talking about.
Too funny. What's the you're in Swampscott there? You ever see the governor?
Not lately, because he's always, no, I never do anyway. Back when he was a selectman, he and I were in the same kickboxing class together here in Swampscott.
Oh, really?
But since he became governor, he's got a state trooper parked in front of his house, and he's busy running the government. So I don't see much of him.
You know what I always used to like about you? You were I always used to say you would come in early morning, and you used to start at 6. You were always there by 5:30, if I remember correctly. You're an early bird.
Is it too early? I remember that.
No, but if there was ever, we always tried to bring our own energy. But if there were days when maybe we didn't, you brought the energy. I used to love that about you.
Oh, that I showed up?
Yes, it was great that you showed up, but you showed up with energy. Was it like an influx of lifting the newsroom?
Well, we had a wonderful energy there, and I'm sure you still do in the mornings. It's just I got a little too old to get up that early. I think it takes a young man to do it. Although our good friends Gary LaPierre and Gil Santos did it forever and ever and ever. They were just better men than I am, to tell you the truth.
That's not true. I remember you told me a story one day about, and if you try to keep it PG, if one comes to mind, but of you, Gary, and Gil. Wait, what was the news like back then when it was just you guys?
Well, it was the early 90s, when I started there, and it was like we'd sit at a desk, and Gary would be across from me, and I was a writer and reporter, and a guy named Don Batting would be out on the street, and Gil would be Gil at a desk next to him, and we all had typewriters, and it was a very fun environment, and then you throw in the morning guys, because this was before we were all news. So when I got there, Dave Maynard, who was a hilarious guy, was on in the morning. And right after him, as Dave was kind of getting out of that position, Tommy Bergeron was there. And Tommy was just hilarious. So it was a lot of fun and games. But at the top and bottom of the hour, when it was time to do news, it was serious stuff.
Who was who was your mentor? Who'd you learn the most from?
Oh, Gary, no question. I never had a broadcast class in my life. I just stumbled into this stuff in the 80s. I got a free ride to go to the University of New Hampshire to go to grad school, study English. And I got done with that. And you can imagine a master's degree in English. What the heck are you going to do with that?
Right.
So I was playing drums in a band and riding motorcycle, and I was in a theater group. And somebody in the theater group said that the local radio station, this is 1983 in the fall, was looking for somebody to go along with the presidential candidates, a bunch of Democrats, and they'll pay you $180 a week. And I had a good voice, and I was an actor, so I figured I'd act like a radio reporter, but I had never had a journalism class in my life. So I got the job, and I listened to BZ every morning and listened to Gary. And when Gary would talk and I was in the car, then I would talk. So the car was kind of my classroom, and Gary was my teacher. He was awesome.
Really, too cool. I know we kind of, I felt like that was a little bit unexpected losing him a couple of years ago. The time I had seen him before that, he was looking great.
Yeah,
and
it happened really quick. The cancer that came into him, leukemia or whatever the heck it was. Yeah, it happened fast. Yeah.
But what a great guy. I remember him telling me, writing out REM one day in a news script. He goes, "You know what? Do me a favor. Let's just put some dashes or dots in the middle there. I don't want to say REM."
He did say REM.
He did.
Said it on the air once. Deb and I often laugh about that.
Deb Walker asking about you recently, by the way. I talked with her on the phone. I don't know if you've talked with her since, but
yeah, we text every once in a while. I certainly miss Deb, Gary, Gil, but I miss you too. I mean, I'm just not in the newsroom, and the dynamic, the energy that goes on in the morning, it's no less than when I was working in the mornings in the early 90s. Just tremendous level of intensity and intelligence and energy, and it's a wonderful space to be. You guys do a great job.
Couple more rapid fire. What's the on the up note? What's like the most uplifting story you ever covered? What's the one that you didn't know you were gonna cover that was gonna hit you so hard in a good way?
Well, those are a couple of different questions. I think the most uplifting story I ever did was when I was standing on the mound in St. Louis after Game 4 of the World Series in 2004, realizing that for the first time in a long, long time, the Red Sox were the world champions. And then looking at all the Red Sox fans there in St. Louis along the third baseline, and to stand there in the mound, and I reached down and I took some dirt and I held it in my hand and I was going to put it in my pocket, and I thought, no, that's not the right thing to do. So I just dropped the dirt there. And that was uplifting. But there are a ton of uplifting stories that you just stumble into, and there are these little acts of courage done by people who are under tremendous stress. Could be at a car crash. It could be at a fire. It's just these accidental, almost inclinations to help someone else. They're almost unthought, because you see somebody helping somebody and they're complete strangers, but it's at a time of crisis, a time of hurt, maybe a little bit like now. But whether it's a car crash, a fire, a homicide scene, someone needs consolation, someone needs help, there's very often someone else there to provide that help. And sometimes it's a complete stranger. And those occasions I always found uplifting.
Interesting. I like that answer. How we could be in this for a couple more months. Is it pretty much punching bag music and hanging out there for you? You going for walks? You taking the dog for a walk? Yeah,
I'll take the dog for a walk. And as the weather gets warmer, in fact, I was talking to Karima, tomorrow it's going to be up to 60. We'll be on the bike for a while. We're going to take some long motorcycle rides. So that'll be good too.
Did you see the New Hampshire governor has at least a little bit left the door open to golf? I don't know how you feel about this.
But you're asking me how I feel about golf. Listen, but we took the bike to Nahant yesterday because I just wanted to see what things were looking like at Kelly Greens. And they have a big sign there and barriers, the cones there that golf course closed. You know, you want socialized, well, anyway, that would be wonderful, you know. But the problem is I don't like that, I want to adhere by the stay-at-home thing to an extent. I don't think I'm hurting anybody on a motorcycle. But, I don't need to, I'm playing golf right now in the backyard. So, I hear you. I miss golf. I miss playing golf, but my chipping's getting a lot better.
You're a relatively new golfer. I remember talking to you, and I said, what was that, 5-6 years ago, maybe?
Well, 3 or 4.
But shorter than that, yeah. It was relatively. And I remember saying to you, you should take up golf. I think you'd like it. You said your immediate thought was, no, not for me. And I go, I think you'd like it. You go, okay, what do I do? And I said, do you have clubs? You go, no. I said, you got to get clubs. And where'd you get them?
Well, yard sales. I got the most expensive club in my bag is a $10 driver. So, and I've gotten a lot better. It's a lot of fun. You were right. I appreciate it. But mostly I took up golf because physically I ran out of things I could do,
Yeah, now we just messed you all up mentally. That's what that game is.
What?
Golf. It's a mental struggle, man.
So you're telling me golf messed me up mentally? Really?
We didn't help.
Don't you tell a car that the windshield wiper makes it go around and around?
Oh, man. What are you listening to? What's in the, you got a record player or a CD player? What's in there right now?
Nothing. I'll pull up something on, I don't listen to a CD player or a record. So I did have a record on the other day. I was listening to old Neil Diamond. But I'll often pull up Johnny. I Johnny Cash, a lot of Johnny Cash.
I think Johnny Cash might be your go-to there when it's all said and done.
That's kind of. Oh, you know what? Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames
went higher.
Burns, burns, burns. Ring of fire. Ring of fire. Love James.
Carl Stevens, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for taking a few minutes, my man. You look great.
So do you. Good talking to you, Sarah. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Carl.
Be safe out there, all right?
Now, can I delete this? Can I delete the Zoom app now?
I don't know. I think you should keep it. It's a good. Mookie thinks you should keep it. Hey, buddy, you're on the table.
He's decided it's okay to stand on the table now.
We're gonna have to.
Attaboy Mook. Attaboy Mook.
He's very upset. Baseball season's not here.
He's going to have to deal with it like the rest of us.
Isn't that right? It's the simple truth, right?
Yeah. I just wonder sociologically, and there's a lot of damage and there's a lot of hurt that's happening as a result of this. But what the sociological ripple effect of people finding new ways to contact each other and realizing the importance of that contact, it'll be interesting to see where we are in 6 months. That's for sure.
I'll be well. Can't wait to see you again, my man. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
See you later.
See you, bud. All right. Well, how about that? Carl Stevens of WBZ News Radio. That, Sarah, I think you'd agree that had to be one of the more interesting shows we've ever done.
Yes, he's very entertaining.
It's very entertaining. Carl is one of the great ones. He is. He still is. He's still working. He made it seem like he was. He's still doing some full-time work for WBZ. And find me a better. The dog is going crazy. Find me a better reporter in the country. You're going to have a hard time doing it. Carl is the best. So thank you very much. Another fantastic show here. That was. We're learning something new every day doing these shows from, our kitchen. The dogs are around. My wife is here. Probably should have said you first. My wife is here. The dogs are around. It's a very nice feeling here in the house. So we hope you're enjoying it. This has been Joppa Afternoon Drive. We'll be back with another episode as soon as we can. I think we're going to try to do these on a daily basis. So just keep staying tuned. We'll keep you up to date on the Twitter feed at Joppa Afternoons, Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. That's at Joppa Afternoons. And hang with us. We appreciate you. It's good to be back, at least in this form. I know we can't be in the studio doing our usual little shows, but this will have to suffice for now. We're all making adjustments in tough times. Thank you to all the frontline workers, the nurses, the doctors, and everybody fighting this brutal coronavirus. Keep your social distance. Sarah, anything you'd like to say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Sarah, my wife. My name is Drew Moholland. This has been Afternoon Drive.